Hey everybody, welcome back to Spoon Squad. My name's Noah, and today we'll be checking out the deck I used to get first place at a local league challenge. To kick off the 2024 competitive season, I chose to play Arceus V-Star with Umbreon VMAX and Pikachu VMAX, the flying variety, as well as Radiant Alakazam and Hawlucha. 2024 will be my first season that I go for my Worlds invite, depending on where Worlds is. Because if it's in the US, I will most definitely try my hardest to get there. So this league challenge is the first stepping stone for me to get there. I placed first in the Masters Division, second overall, with the winner being a senior. I was awarded second place at prizing, but I was still awarded 15 points for winning the Masters Division, which was the largest populated division there. This deck did very well for me on the day. Arceus is just one of those decks that just lets you get into the game a lot and ensure that you have a solid game most games. There are some awkward hands, obviously, that comes with this deck, but in a best of 3 setting, which this was, surprisingly, for a league challenge, the deck did very well. My first round, I went against a Blissey v Charizard deck, the Charizard being from Pokemon Go. The idea of their deck was to use Armarouge and Magma Basin to move fire energy from the discard pile onto the Armarouge and up to Blissey V, which does more damage for each energy on it, and then the Pokemon Go Charizard will count all of those fire energies as 2, so that Blissey can be hitting for a lot of damage and be taking a lot of hits because it has a lot of hit points. The problem with that deck against my deck is that I can just promote Flying Pikachu VMAX and use Max Balloon over and over, and they can't really hit me with much, especially if I take out their Charmanders, which I very much did. With my heavy Lost City count, I was able to take out Charmanders easy and early with my heavy boss count as well as Dark Signal, allowing me to pick off the Charmanders before they evolve, so that Charizard can't tank a hit from Flying Pikachu. I was just able to gust them up early and knock them out so that Charizard could never come into play and possibly be a problem for Flying Pikachu. They didn't play many escape ropes or switches or anything, so the Blissey was just sitting there not doing anything, and it was a pretty easy 2-0 against this player. They weren't very competitive or anything, they were just there to have a good time, which you can never really blame them. It's Pokemon at the end of the day, so everybody's there just to have a good time. Round 2, I go up against a Arceus V-Star Rayquaza VMAX deck, which is very funny because the rest of the team that day was playing the Arceus Rayquaza deck at another league challenge closer to our area. I decided to diversify and go a little bit further out of my way to ensure that we didn't all play against each other and just, get in each other's way, putting some more wins to the squad is always a good idea. So it was kind of surprising to run into someone else that was playing the exact same deck as us, pretty much. And against them, I did it wasn't easy 2-0, it was a nice clean 2-0 dub. The Radiant Heatran is probably the scariest attacker they have in the deck against my deck, even considering Flying Pikachu. Everything in their deck is built to do a lot of damage, so with my heavy 3 prizer count, it's kind of awkward to navigate that matchup, but knocking out 2 Rayquazas, an Armarouge, and an Arceus usually gets you there. But they tried, in one of the games, they kind of threw the ball a little bit, they dropped it. They tried to attack with Radiant Heatran that only had 2 energy on it when you need to have 3 to attack with Radiant Heatran. And that kind of cost them the game. That was like their big attacker that really set them back when it got knocked out. I was able to pull off a very cool Spoonman Metacham play where I was able to knock out a Rayquaza VMAX and then take another turn and take 5 prize cards in the span of 2 turns, but my opponent didn't get to do anything in between the two. It was just pretty awkward for them. And then round 3, I hit my friend Douglas that I have known for a little bit, going into locals with him. He is very much known to play Gudra, and that's exactly what he played. He played the Lost Zone Gudra deck, which was my only tie for the day. My record that day was 2-0-1. There was 3 rounds, and I took the first game because he wasn't able to establish 2 Gudra Vs on his first turn, so I was able to Gust KO the Gudra V before it was able to evolve. I was going first, which was a very big advantage in that matchup. Second game, he was able to get the Gudra online and functioning, but I wasn't able to gust around it enough. I had to use my Umbreons early. Path to the Peak was in play at one point, so I couldn't use my Umbreons, but I also didn't see my boss's orders a lot that game, so it didn't really pan out that well for me that game, and he was able to take the W there. And then the third game we ended up not finishing because we ran out of time, so that ended in a tie, which resulted in my second place finish. I really enjoyed this deck. I think it's a very good deck to bring in any competitive sense to any event that you want to go to that you are a fan of Arceus decks. The only things I would change about this list is that I would personally go to a 2-2 split of my stadiums, with being 2 Lost City and 2 Path, as opposed to 3 Lost City and 1 Path. There were times that I wish that I had Path more often, and being able to see Path. Sometimes grabbing it off of Starbirth just seems like too slow, and there were times where I needed 3 cards, and Path to the Peak being one of them. I would have liked to have another copy in the deck just to see it more. The 3 Lost City seemed a little heavy. I could probably cut down and go to a 2-2 split. Other than that, I would probably cut the Water Energy. I would cut the Water Energy for another copy of Lightning. Only having 6 copies of your colored energy that you really need in your strategy just didn't seem very good, and I never got the play off of using Aqua Return on Lumineon on the day, so I would be comfortable cutting the Water Energy and going to a 3rd Lightning. Everything else in the deck is very solid. I enjoyed the 1 Adventurous Discovery very much. It came in clutch in a number of scenarios. I was able to grab the V-Star, including an Umbreon VMAX and another basic V to put down to charge up with Trinity Nova. And personally, for anybody who knows me, I am someone who gets screwed over by hand disruption very, very commonly, especially if I play it. If I try to judge path my opponent, a lot of the times I will end up breaking off of that and giving them everything they need. I know that's not something that I can really control and not just a variance thing, but it has happened to me a lot, and I decided to shift from it being a judge path focused deck in this Arceus deck to more of a Lost City beat stick type deck, where I'm just able to knock out my opponent's Pokemon and deny them ever getting them back by putting them in the Lost Zone. The Hisuian Heavy Ball was pretty helpful. I'm a big fan of Hisuian Heavy Ball for checking your prize cards pretty easily. If I go to a large tournament, I will more than likely be playing Hisuian Heavy Ball in my deck, just to give it easy access to my prize cards, so I know what I prized and what I did not, and giving myself that knowledge very quickly as opposed to taking a long time on first deck search is optimal to me. But yeah, that was my list, and that was my tournament report for the local league challenge that I placed first at with Arceus, Umbreon, Flying Pikachu. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. We'll have more tournament reports in the future from other members of Spoon Squad. There should be one coming soon from Tristan, who placed second with the Arceus Rayquaza deck very soon on the channel.